No festival that we start anywhere in the world begins without Nathuji's shanks and the nagaras that he plays to push away all of the evil spirits that sometimes tend to follow us around. Nathuji Solanki. 18 years in the making, the Jaipur Literature Festival has hosted over 8,000 writers from across the world, has had over 5 million people arrive here on ground, and has been viewed or engaged with digitally by over 1 billion people across the 18 years. Today, the festival not just is celebrated in Jaipur in Rajasthan, but has moved on to Boulder, Colorado, to Seattle, to New York, to Houston, to North Carolina, to Valladolid in Spain, to Madrid, to London, to Australia, and we hope to have a few more editions in the coming years. None of this would have been possible without the vision of two people who in 1999-2000 came out to the Edinburgh festivals to see what we were doing there, Faith and John Singh. They were invested in restoring and preserving the heritage of this magnificent city. When they came to Edinburgh and saw how the arts could create value for built heritage, they were very clear that this is what they wanted to bring to Jaipur. And they immediately spoke with us and said, can we help them? And Faith set up the Jaipur Virasat Heritage Festival, which ran for a few years, within which Namita and William used to do a literature program, and Willie's famous story is about lost Japanese tourists wandering in there by accident. When that festival faced some problems, Faith and William and Namita and we decided that we would take the literature segment of this and create what is now known as the Jaipur Literature Festival. Thank you, Faith, for that vision, for all the work that you've put into it, not just Anoki, which was your beautiful brainchild, which continues with Rachel and her colleagues, but everybody else. Thank you so much to Apurv and Timmy for opening up the Clark's Hotel, their hearts and home for hosting this festival. When we, yes, absolutely, when we had to move from Diggy post-COVID, it was an agreement that we had to be able to increase the size because of our continuing expansion. Apurv said, why don't you look at Clark's? We were already here with the music stage. And as you can see, year on year, they have been expanding the facilities. Today, this year, they have very kindly built yet another venue for us, which you will experience, which is the Surya Mahal. And I hope you all will enjoy the festival. They say when there is darkness around, you need light. You need to focus on that light. Our light is provided by our writers and our speakers from across the world and all that they put down. It is they who help us make sense of our past, make sense of what's happening presently, and envision perhaps a better future. Today, in the darkness that we see around us, wars that surround us, hatred that we see that's all-consuming, the one thing that we can take solace in is writing and books. Folks like me who are readers more than writers, just sort of imagining the amazing kind of writing that each of these writers put out there it's so fulfilling when you go home and pick up a book and you begin reading it. It transports you to a different part of the world, a different philosophy, a different history. So thank you to all our writers who've traveled from across the world and joined us today at the Jaipur Literature Festival. To tell you a little bit more about the program that we will be unfolding over the next 5 days, please welcome festival co-directors Namita Gokhale and William Dalrymple.
नमस्कार। आज का बड़ा अद्भुत दिन है। आप लोग शायद न जाने या कई लोग जानते भी होंगे कि आज से गुप्त नवरात्रि शुरू है और 2 तारीख को हमारा बसंत पंचमी, सरस्वती पूजा, ये सब सामने आ रही हैं। ये माघ का भव्य महीना है और साल का वह समय जब दुनिया जयपुर से मिलने आती है और जयपुर दुनिया से मिलता है। पाठक, लेखक, विचारक, कलाकार और परिवर्तनकारी हर साल जनवरी में जयपुर साहित्य महोत्सव में एकत्र होते हैं ताकि साझा कथाओं की शक्ति को प्रस्तुत किया जा सके। इस वर्ष जब महाकुंभ मेले का आयोजन किया जा रहा है, हमारा साहित्य उत्सव पृथ्वी का सबसे बड़ा साहित्य उत्सव समझा जाता है। ये एक अलग तरह की तीर्थ यात्रा है, अनंत विचारों और ध्यान का संगम, शब्दों और अर्थ की खोज के लिए एक केंद्र और एक मंच। हमारे वक्ताओं की बातचीत में 26 से अधिक भाषाओं का प्रयोग किया जाता है, जिनमें 13 अंतर्राष्ट्रीय और 13 भारतीय भाषाएं शामिल हैं। यह एक बहुभाषिक और संगीतमय अनुभव प्रदान करता है। जावेद अख्तर साहब हमारे लिए जादू, ताराधुली और गहरी साहित्यिक अंतर्दृष्टि लाएंगे और ज्ञान सीपियों के साथ अतुल तिवारी के साथ कॉन्वर्सेशन में, फिर गीतांजलि श्री हैं, यतीन्द्र मिश्र हैं, पुष्पेश पंत हैं, मनीषा कुलश्रेष्ठा हैं, मानव कौल हैं। ऐसे दिग्गज कार्यक्रम को शोभा देंगे। राजस्थान से जुड़े कई सत्र आधुनिक लेखन और क्षेत्र के सांस्कृतिक धरोहर से जुड़े हैं। अंत में कुछ शब्द हैं जो मैं हर साल 18 साल से बोली जा रही हूँ और आपको फिर सुनाऊंगी क्योंकि ये मेरे दिल के बहुत करीब हैं। ये है कि सरस्वती के भंडार की बड़ी अपूर्व बात, ज्यों खर्चे त्यों त्यों बढ़े, बिना बांटे घट जात। बस यही मेरा कहना है, इसी को हम समझते हैं, इसी को हम आगे बढ़ाते हैं। धन्यवाद। अब मैं ज़रा अंग्रेज़ी में, जो लोग मेरी हिंदी का समझ नहीं पाए उनके लिए अपना अंग्रेज़ी में सुनाती हूँ ज़रा। वी सेलिब्रेट, यहाँ है, ये है कि dear friends, lovers of literature, it is a month of Magh and the time of the year when the world visits Jaipur and Jaipur visits the world. Readers, writers, thinkers, artists, change makers converge every January at the Jaipur Literature Festival to assert the power of shared narratives. In this, the year of the sacred Mahakumbh, our festival, the greatest literary show on earth, is a different sort of pilgrimage. It is a confluence of thought and mindfulness, a hub and platform for words and for the search for meaning. The Jaipur Literature Festival is a moving mosaic of books and ideas, conversations and arguments, lots of arguments, explorations, epiphanies. And this year especially, we interrogate the changing realities of this very fractured world and search for inspiration and continue to believe in a better one. Our speakers talk or write in over 26 languages, including 13 international and 13 Indian languages, presenting a sort of a polyphonic orchestra. The inaugural session by Nobel laureate Sir Venki Ramakrishnan discusses bridging the gap between the arts and sciences, something the festival has consistently worked towards. The 5 days of the festival are marked by a rich diversity of themes and content, from poor economics to the young, as presented by Nobel laureate Esther Duflo, to the medieval mystic Drukpa Kunle from Bhutan and his radical crazy wisdom, from thoughts on theatre to revisiting Gandhi and Tolstoy, to the vision of democracy, equality and the Indian constitution, to the incredible David Walliams reaching out to the child within us all. And then there is the Nobel Peace Prize awardee, Kailash Satyarthi, who has actually tried to reach out for the rights and the futures of young people. we celebrate, and this is important, we celebrate the living heritage of Rajasthan with its unique blend of tradition and cosmopolitanism, presenting things like the sacred scroll traditions of Babuji Ka Phat, and then we talk of the intrepid eco-warriors of the Bishnoi community. There are incredible number of young writers from Jaipur, including some very famous Instagrammers who I hadn't heard of before, but now know about, and so will all of you. And Sudha Murthy ji sitting there, such a consistent supporter of our festival. She will be here with her daughter Akshata to present a riveting session together, sharing insights into how and all that they do. Then Nobel laureate Abhijit Banerjee will speak of food, economics, and society. Another consistent supporter of our festival has been Shashi Tharoor, who will return with his trademark wit and erudition. They are stellar writers from the EU and a very strong Irish contingent. And two Indian writers bring their experiences of Japan to Jaipur. Then Javed Akhtar Saab, another of our what I call Baratis, brings us magic and stardust and deep literary insight. The past beckons and the lessons of history. We go back to the intellectual history of the Nalanda University. We study the old Indian canon and the emerging one. My co-director, William Dalrymple, tells us of the Golden Road and India's place in the ancient world. At the heart of the Literature Festival is the Jaipur bookmark. I urge all of you to go and take a look at it, to listen in there, because Manisha Chaudhary there gives us behind-the-scene perspective into the world of books and the shared learnings of writers, editors, translators. It runs parallel to the festival and is a hub for publishers from around the world. Now, 18 years into this game, me, my co-director William Dalrymple, and our producer Sanjoy Roy, we surely share a very deep karmic bond. We've stuck together for 18 years. And well, it's due to all our joint patience. I'm sure each of us individually is quite, and you, the audience, and our love for you and your love for us have held us together. Thank you for being with us, and I know you will enjoy the packed week ahead. And dhanyavad, namaskar, jai hind. Thank you.
I can't give an opening speech without telling the Japanese story. I would be breaking tradition. On the first year, we were so worried that no one would turn up at our festival that we went frantically around every Delhi bookshop, posting posters, trying to persuade people to put it up on the doors of the bookshop in Khan Market and Bari Sons, hoping that someone would turn up. And halfway through the opening address, it was still about 3/4 empty in the tiny Delhi Diggy Durbar Hall. And then, miraculously, people started filing in some number. But we did notice that they looked as if they weren't Indian. They turned out a busload of Japanese tourists had gone to a completely wrong address and were looking for Amer Fort. But filled our hall to overflowing. So even on our first day, we could claim maximum capacity. There are two sides to literature and the experience of literature. To read is as private an act as any person can engage in. It's you, the text in front of you, sitting on a sofa or in bed or beside a pool or on a beach or in a study, trying to understand what the writer is offering you. But from the beginning of mankind's story, the public performance of literature is something related but quite different. And this is something that has always been particularly strong in India. From man's first stories told around campfires, to the recitation of the Vedas, mankind's oldest surviving sacred text, being sung while Stonehenge was being built, through to the stories of the bards, recording acts of heroism, which in time grew to be the great epics like the Ramayana or the Mahabharata, and later on added and changed through to the Hamzanama and stories of the Shahnameh. But this is something that Rajasthan in particular has always specialized in. My wonderful co-director Namita mentioned the Papuji Kifad. Many of you here, I suspect, won't know what this is. This is the often 4-day-long recitation of an epic from very much these deserts of Rajasthan, a story of cattle lifting and heroism and rescue and loyalty, and finally death and sacrifice and redemption. These are stories, this and the Gogaji epic, which were written in Rajasthan, which attracted great crowds to listen to them. But literary festivals are not something which are new to India. A few years ago, we had the wonderful Sanskrit scholar Sheldon Pollock coming here. And he told me about something which I'd never heard of before, which was a literary festival in Kalyana in the 9th century, which attracted poets and songs in Sanskrit, Prakrit, and Akrabhasha, the great cosmopolitan language of India's, the Kannada, Gujarati, Awadhi, Bangla, Oriya, all be competing, all on stage together. Then here in Jaipur itself, under Sawai Man Singh, the performance every day at court of poems before the day's work began. So if you want to understand why literary festivals have taken off in India in the way that they have in the last 20 years, we were the first, but there are now about 300 others which have followed in our footsteps. The answer lies that it is something deeply indigenous. It is something which appeals deeply into the heart of every literate and illiterate Indian, the public performance of literature. We bring you this year an unparalleled program. Namita has talked so much about it that I don't want to add any further names, but just to say we've got, I think, 6 Nobel Prize winners with us this year, 11 winners of the Pulitzer Prize, 5 winners of the Booker Prize, or shortlisted, the Bailey Gifford, the Sahitya Akademi. All the great prizes of the world are represented among our authors. We try to bring you every year the greatest achievement in literature, the new writing, but also to look back at some of the great established classics. It's going to be an extraordinary year, so please enjoy yourselves and let the games begin.
When Punita, my wife, decided that we were to get married, my father-in-law asked me what I did, and I said I do theater. So he said, no, what's your job? So I said, no, I do theater. It didn't impress him at all. And then he said, so how are you going to sort of support my daughter? And I said, hey, your daughter is a manager in a firm. She's supporting us. That didn't go down too well either. So I decided I had to take my first job. I joined Bobby Bedi and started producing and directing a television series. And much later, one of the reasons Mohit and I set up Teamwork Arts, or Teamwork Films then, was primarily to show that the arts could and can create wealth and value in the same way that financial institutions or any other organizations do. Last year, we were very fortunate to join hands with Sanjay and Jyoti Agarwal Foundation. Sanjay Agarwal, again, is a great story from Jaipur. He set up one of the private banks here, AU Bank, and he then took over some of the investment that the Ambit had made in us about 11 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sanjay Agarwal. Navtej, there's a seat for you right there. It's marked there. And you know, everybody sort of talks about this pain about investments. We're friends, so there's no pain.
So thank you so much. Kamagani, good morning, namaskar. Welcome to my city. Of course, Sanjoy would have given me about me a little bit about it, but I think I should give you 2 minutes brief about me and the entire Jaipur story. So I belong to this city. I born here, build my entire entrepreneurial journey, build bank from here, right? And so this is the one reason I'm standing here. The second, yourself, right? JLF. I think born here 18 years ago, would have imagined that this would happen like this, And I supported Sanjoy for this, that this is the platform which have the freedom of expression, where the idea gets changed, where you can build something from nowhere. It gives you that belief that if something is going wrong in the world, you can discuss, you can debate, you can deliberate, and do it, bigger. And second, that I stand for Jaipur, honestly. I stand for something which Jaipur has given me so much. And I'm so incredibly thankful to entire teamwork, our team, that they have created something so big for Jaipur that it recognizes us entire world now. And I also want to do the bang in same level, but I think me and Sanjoy always have that tough conversation that, is it a cause I am supporting, or is it a wealth I want to be built here also, right? But that debate is on, but we should have one session here today, right? Whether art can create a wealth or not, and I'm happy to participate there. But from my side, my family office side, my team side, wish you all the best for this eventful day. I know you will create new buzz, new ideas, new discussion, new deliberation, and will give us something to really to back on, right? So thank you so much. Good luck.
Many of you don't know, but since the past 1 week, our authors have been traveling out between Delhi and Jaipur to about 110 schools. It's a program that we do with Pratham Books. These are schools who can't come to us, so we take our writers to them. I think Sudha Murthy and Akshata Murthy and Venki have been to many of these schools, government, not-for-profit schools that have been set up. To be able to put on a festival this size, you can't do it without resources. And Preetha and her team, Preetha is our president at Teamwork Arts, and she runs much of our sponsorship, partnerships, and marketing program. And it's to her responsibility that she has to go out and find resources to be able to set this up. It's never easy. People think that, we make and raise a lot of money, or we raise some money. We need to always raise more money because with the festivals growing, there's more and more need for support. So we look to each one of you and thank our sponsors who are on board to be able to support us. Please welcome Preetha Singh.
Thank you, Sanjoy, and welcome everyone to this great festival. I'm not going to take too much time because I know you're waiting for Venki's keynote. What I just want to say is, as Sanjoy said, as the festival grows, we're this year hoping to reach 400 million people online. The idea is not just to have a live festival here, which is brilliant, to have all of you, to meet the authors, to, breathe the same breeze and stuff, but it is those millions who can actually benefit and enjoy what's happening here across these 5 days. So we work hard. I want to thank first all our communication partners, media, our agencies, our teams in Teamwork Arts, and across client organizations who make this possible. We have a huge amount, about over 40 partners, and I'm not going to read them. They're on the website. Please go see what they're doing across the festival. But I want to really, really thank 3 people today who have made it possible for us to take our big leap in the 18th here and make investments in the festival and take it to more people, not just at Clark's, but across the country and across the world. I want to thank Vedanta, our presenting sponsor. We're very proud and very happy, and I thank Ritu and Miss Priya Heber Agarwal to enable this. There's a whole, it doesn't happen in one day, it happens across months and months of talking, of figuring out how they will benefit, how we will benefit. And I just urge you all to see the great work that the company is doing in Rajasthan, across India, and across parts of the world. The other partner, which we're very proud to welcome, is Maruti Suzuki, who is an associate partner for the festival this year. Maruti's been coming and going, and I urge them and everybody, and I thank Rahul Bharti back at Maruti and a whole team there, to please look at, we need the support. There's no way that we are going to be able to host all of you, make this festival grow the way it is without everybody's partnership. Last but not the least, Vida. I'm so proud to have Hero Motorcorp's Vida, an electric bike here, supporting the festival. And I thank Chandru and the team for doing this, because it's not easy. They've never done this before. They've done marathons, they've done other stuff, but have to come to a literature festival. And that brings me to my last point, and an appeal. It's not just a point. People think, let's go to IFA, let's go to IPL, let's sport, Bollywood. They are amazing. I love them, I consume them like all of us here. But literature, as William, Namita, Sanjoy, everybody has said, that brings you that individual joy, that book in your hands, those ideas. So please, anybody, patrons, we are so blessed to have so many rich Indians sitting in India and overseas. May there be millions more, and may there be no poor. Please come forth, be patrons. This is so critical. The other is our corporates. Yes, the corporates suddenly say, okay, we'll put in, and we can't haggle. There's no negotiation. Just come in. I assure you your brand will benefit. And last but not the least, our foundations. And again, we are on a different curve in India, and the world has done a lot more. But we would love for anybody who wants something more long-term, structural. We're happy. You'll find us, we've got now an opportunity for you all to log in onto our website and register if you want to have a conversation. But my team, Prachi, Shohini, Sunil, Akanksha, there's a whole lot of us here. And please speak to us. Love to have more of you on board. And thank you for supporting us.
Thank you, Preetha. And again, big thanks to all our supporters and sponsors for supporting the festival, for supporting the arts. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's have our keynote address. May I please request our keynote speaker, acclaimed molecular biologist and Nobel laureate Venki Ramakrishnan, who's renowned for his work on the structure and function of ribosomes. Please welcome him on stage with a huge round of applause as he speaks about the vast and fascinating world of science and its intersection with the arts. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Venki Ramakrishnan.
Good morning. It's a real honor and a pleasure to be invited again to the Jaipur Literary Festival, and a particular honor to be asked to give you this opening keynote talk. Now, about 65 years ago, C.P. Snow wrote a hugely influential essay called The Two Cultures. In it, he described the seemingly impassable gulf between the sciences and the humanities, with little understanding between the two groups. They spoke different languages and had different vocabularies, and often had suspicion and mutual disdain for each other. Except for science fiction, portrayal of science in literature, starting all the way back from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, is often about disastrous consequences of scientists doing something and that somehow escaped beyond their control. And that goes all the way to modern dystopian literature. Now, you might expect that in a world that's exploding with information, that C.P. Snow's essay, written 65 years ago, would no longer be relevant. But in fact, it's more important than ever. Science and mathematics, now including computer science, have become ever more specialized and seemingly unintelligible, almost magical, to those outside the anointed few. At the same time, we live in an age dominated by technological advancements, from artificial intelligence to gene editing to climate science. Many of these innovations have the potential to reshape human existence in profound ways, But as Snow warned in 1959, the general public often lacks even basic scientific literacy. Consider, for instance, the debates around climate science, biodiversity, AI, genetic engineering, or surveillance technology. Everyone is talking about them, but how well informed are they, and how much do they actually know about these technologies? Even scientists can barely grasp advances outside their own narrow specialties. The gap between the two cultures isn't just academic. The mutual ignorance and suspicion is responsible for the rise of populist movements, fueled by the spread of misinformation and even disinformation, prejudice, and conspiracy theories. Major issues confront us, such as the environment, food security, preparation for future pandemics, and increasingly sophisticated weaponry, all of which could have serious consequences for the world. Technologies like AI and genetic engineering have tremendous promise, but also carry tremendous risks. All of these require more than just technical expertise. They demand empathy and understanding of human history, culture, and values. Without that broader context, the solutions we propose risk being shallow, short-sighted, or even harmful. Scientists alone cannot make decisions that affect us all. We cannot leave technocrats, in the words of one famous technocrat, to move fast and break things. Rather, we need the humanities, literature, philosophy, history, to provide us with the framework to grapple with the moral, ethical, and social implications of the scientific advances we're making. It's only together that we can decide on a way forward. Snow's advocacy of interdisciplinary education and dialogue is still relevant. He advocated for a world where scientists were well-versed in history and literature, and humanists understood the basics of science. He believed that intellectuals who could bridge these two worlds would be equipped to face the complexities of modern life. What can we do today? First, instead of making people specialize too early in narrow specialization, often we ask people at the age of 16 to choose. We need to encourage a broad curriculum that includes both the sciences and humanities to create a broadly literate population. Such a population will at least have the basis to debate intelligently about the issues of the day and be less susceptible to being manipulated by demagogues and by disinformation. We live in a world that often wants simple and quick solutions to complicated problems. The reality, however, is that most of the challenges we face today are highly complex, with technical, social, and political aspects. In an era where specialists are often the norm, we need to bring together people from diverse fields of knowledge who can understand each other and work together creatively to solve complex problems that take into account all of the various angles. Literature and other parts of the humanity, like history, have a great part in helping to break down these barriers. Scientists and science writers, on their part, can help communicate complex ideas to the general public while also being sensitive to their social consequences. And perhaps those in the humanities can become more aware of how science works, of the uncertainties in science and what it is doing, and incorporate that into their stories and histories. C.P. Snow's Two Cultures reminds us of the dangers of intellectual isolation and the urgency of fostering a culture where knowledge, curiosity, and creativity are not confined to separate worlds. The future depends on our ability to to bridge these divides. The JLF is a wonderful such bridge, but we need many such bridges, including in our educational system. So I should say, let the conversation begin to start bridging the divide. Thank you very much.
Dr. Ramakrishnan, before he went on, said it's so intimidating to speak to so many people being a scientist. But please join me in giving him a big round of applause, and thank you so much for that keynote address. Today is the 30th of January. It's Martyrs' Day. It's the day that Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated at 11 p.m. We will mark the occasion, but before that, I would, on behalf of Namita, William, and all my colleagues at Teamwork Arts, like to take the occasion to thank two people who passed away earlier this year. They've been great supporters of the Jaipur Literature Festival. Bibek Debroy, thinker, writer, former advisor to the Prime Minister's Economic Council. Vivek sadly passed away a month and a half ago, and we remember him. He was supposed to attend the festival this year. Thank you, Vivek. Wherever you are, I hope you continue to support us and continue to be writing out there whole new volumes of the Vedas. Bim Bissell is a legend in the arts world. Bim Bissell was one of the people who set up Fab India. Many of you, I think, are wearing Fab India or Anokhi dresses. Bim passed away in December. She was a great supporter of the festival. She came and joined us year on year, more or less through her late 80s. And we remember her with love, and we send her children, Monsoon and William Bissell, our love and respect and condolences. And we wish that Bim was here, but I know upstairs she's already doing some craft stuff and telling God what he or she or they need to be sorting out. So Bim, wherever you are, lots of love. The backbone of our festival is, one is, of course, the Jaipur police, the Rajasthan police. Thank you all so much for making sure that everybody is so safe. Normally, everybody criticizes you, but मैं ये अवसर लेना चाह रहा हूँ कि सारे जो जयपुर पुलिस के लोग हैं उनको हमारे तरफ से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आप इतना मदद करते हो. Their duty times about 12 hours. They stand outside trying to work out the traffic issues, and within the venue there are many of the IB, the CID, etc. to keep us safe. So a big shout out to them. The face of our festival is our volunteers. They're just amazing. We have 400 odd volunteers this year, chosen from 1,500 who have written in from across the world. A special welcome to our volunteers from Missouri, the USA, from Seattle, from New York, from Singapore, and of course from across the world. Thank you all for being amazing. So many years ago, Mahatma Gandhi had an idea that he would bring freedom to the people of India. He also had an idea that he would clean India. He also had an idea that he would move beyond the narrow dimensions of caste and religion. And it is to him we pay tribute today. More so, again, like saying, look at the wars around us. We have the Palestinian ambassador sitting there. Our hearts, our love, our respect to you on this moment. We know the suffering that your people are still going through. But I read the Palestinian ambassador to the UN said, they have destroyed everything in Gaza. What they can't destroy is the love of Palestinians for their land. So thank you, and the world's bravest journalist is here, Gideon Levy from the Haaretz, who's been reporting from behind the scenes and bringing to the world the horrors that we saw that were happening in Palestine. Our respect and our prayers for those in all of the other wars in Ukraine. We've got writers here from Ukraine and Russia, from the forgotten wars of Afghanistan and in Darfur and so many other places. It is time for us to pause and think about what peace means, not just to each of us or to the regions that we think are so far removed, but what does war do to our planet? It is the only planet that we have. Elon Musk has a spacecraft, he can go wherever. But for us, it's the only planet. We need to look after it. And it's not somebody else's responsibility. It's not government's responsibility or the energy people's responsibility or the UN's responsibility. It's our responsibility, each one of us. So please help us keep this festival clean and green wherever you are. If there is anything that's fallen, do pick it up, put it into the waste dustbins that are there. We try and do this recycle program with our colleagues at Scrap. We're trying to be carbon neutral with Earth Day. So for each one of you, we plant a tree in Rajasthan, in Orissa, in UP, as part of our ongoing program to make us carbon neutral. May I ask Ankur to come and introduce the program to remember Mahatma Gandhi, who gave us democracy, who gave us independence, who gave us the sense and the idea of India. He did so by traveling the length and breadth of India to understand its people, not just people like you and me, but people who are Indian, the Bharat. Ankur.
Thank you, Sanjoy. Can I please request our wonderful flautist, also visually impaired, Ravindraji, to please come on stage and play some tunes and pay a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi.
इसको ये टाइप सी में लगा था ना इनको माइक के पास रखो ना हेलो नमस्कार इस जयपुर लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल में आप सबको मेरी तरफ से कोटि कोटि प्रणाम। और आज आप सब ने मुझे यहाँ उपस्थित किया स्टेज पे, तो परम पूज्य महात्मा गांधी को श्रद्धांजलि देते हुए मैं एक भजन प्रस्तुत करने जा रहा हूँ।
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ravindraji. As you all know, Vaishnava Janta was one of Gandhiji's favorite bhajans written by Narsin Mehta in Gujarati in the 15th century. As we gather here today, as we remember the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, whose voice remains the conscience and guiding light of India. As you all know, he was tragically assassinated on this day 77 years ago. I request you all to please stand and observe 1 minute of silence.